What up, guys? What is happening? Hope you guys are doing well. If I'm talking funny, it's because my mouth is still numb from my dental procedure. Got that dental procedure done this morning before I go to work. It's one of my late days, so Car Chronicles, here we are. But how are you guys doing? Welcome to my newer subscribers. Well, and thank you to those that are still hanging on. I really appreciate you guys. Today I just wanted to talk about just the direction of the physical therapy world. When I first came into physical therapy as a physical therapist assistant, there was the 2020 vision, which was the expectation that all practicing physical therapists would become doctors of physical therapy by 2020. And I think in anything in life, even your own personal life, there should be a vision. You should have a vision of where you want to be, what you want to be at a specific time period that's realistic. And as you're approaching that vision, you are checking and making goals towards the vision, right? You're setting goals for yourself, whether long-term, short-term, and before then, you're to reevaluate and see, how you're feeling. The American Physical Therapy Association, or APTA, is the body-making organization for physical therapy. So if you are new to the field or are wanting to know more, I would suggest looking into the APTA and seeing what is going on. Before I got into physical therapy school, I wasn't a member of the APTA because I felt as though the APTA did not represent physical therapist assistants as much. And even up till today, there has been some improvements, but I still feel that there's a lack and a lot needs to be done in that area, but also in the area of physical therapy. And the only reason I joined the APTA really was that it was a requirement for school, because we could tap into resources through the APTA, which I think is important. In spite of them not doing what they need to do, we're stronger if we're organized as a body that comes together to make a change. Now, does that mean that I'm happy paying my dues every time? Absolutely not, because I feel as though there's still a lot that could be done in the field of physical therapy that's not done. But again, as I say, you can't really blame the organization if some of us are not contributing and proactively, doing our own part to help out, make a difference just in general. I've worked with people, physical therapists who have bachelors, those who have masters, those that are doctorate, PhD even, and it's very interesting because I don't discount anyone's skill. I feel as though the bachelor's PT and the master's PT both have a lot to offer. Actually, I feel as though the bachelor's PT knows probably more than the doctor of physical therapy because of their experience. Obviously, they came in at a time way earlier than when the DPT was even thought about or implemented. And they have built and gotten exposure, gotten experience, and so their experience and knowledge puts them above some of us that are coming out of school. However, I feel as though research has changed a lot of things. There's some treatments, there's some approaches that were like the end-all be-all back in the days that are not so now, that have been proven to not proven, nothing is proven, but that have been found to not be as, I guess, effective now as it was back then, because there was a lack of knowledge, a lack of exposure, a lack of research in those areas. It was just, Ron came up with his idea and, he studied it and he maybe put it forward to some patients, and bam, here we are, taking that theory and running with it. And that's great. I feel as though we should be that society where people are wanting to, find things and put them to the test and, survey a couple of populations, a good amount of population within their criteria, and implement it. I mean, that's amazing. However, I feel as though there is a lot of spite in the field of physical therapy when it comes to bachelor's and master's PTs. Some are not, so a lot of them that I've come across are not supportive of the DPT, and feel that it's a waste of time and a waste of money. And you know what? They have a good argument. It can be a waste of time and a waste of money, depending on what you do with it. It's not the degree itself or the profession that's a problem. It is what we're doing or what we do with the profession that's a problem. Bachelor's and master's PTs are, upset that, people, DPTs, want to be called doctors. If we compare ourselves, the closest comparison, which I wouldn't even say it's a comparison actually, but we can juxtapose ourselves against the chiropractors. Chiropractors don't play. I worked for chiropractors for 4 to 5 years before I became a PTA. And, well, while I was doing PTA and after that, or before I finished the program. But chiropractors call themselves doctors, and guess what? They have organized themselves to be able to order x-rays, do x-rays, and read x-rays. And you know what? MDs, medical doctors, hate that. A lot of them hate it because how dare a chiropractor go that route? But that's what I think physical therapy is faced with, is they're not going to let us have access to ordering x-rays or, performing x-rays or reading x-rays because of that. We have bachelor's and master's holders, and nothing against that, but we have to become a full doctoring profession in order to have some privileges that we're asking for. And, I'm a victim of that. I try to refer to myself as Dr. Monique, Dr. Physical Therapy to my patients. I don't really push for the doctor, but I'm starting to, because I earned that darn degree. I cried, I had sweats, I had fears, I had challenges that almost, threw me out the loop. And I have loans that show, the progress and the stress that I went through. So I am going to demand to be called a doctor, and I am going to demand for us to try to get to the point like chiropractors where we can order x-rays. That's the basic thing, for goodness sake. We are musculoskeletal movement specialists, and we can't even order a freaking x-ray? That's crazy. I don't understand why we can't, as a profession, come together and fight for it. And, there are transition programs that have been implemented. Nursing, for instance. Nurses, associate degree RNs now are required to have a BSN, and a lot of hospital systems are not wanting to hire associate holders, well, at least in the state that I'm in, because they want to start moving towards the NP model to get more recognition, to get more respect. And you know what? That's what we have to do. So this is not to bash a bachelor's or master's PT, because I work with some and I love working with them, and I think they're amazing and bring a lot of experience and knowledge that a lot of us DPTs are still trying to work towards. But I feel as though that there should be a true transition of every bachelor's and master's PT holder into DPT, because for the mere fact that the profession is going to get more leverage, and we're going to get more respect, and we're going to get more access to a lot of things that we don't have now, and be like the chiropractors who refer to themselves as doctors and are respected, by their consumers and others around. And so I just urge everyone that is, considering the physical therapy realm, to go DPT. If you're a bachelor's, if you're a master's, transition. It's a good thing for the profession. It's going to get us where we ought to be, to gain the respect that we need, to get the access that we need, to get insurance. That's why insurance is cutting so much, because they're like, well, why should we pay you all this when we still have people who have, and that's the truth, as silly as it is, I wish that wasn't our system. They're looking at it like, well, y'all have all these different players in the system. We have to differentiate. We can't pay a bachelor's holder the same thing we're paying a doctorate holder, or vice versa. And I'm not saying that it's because of more skill, less skill, or whatever, but it boils down to education. It should be a model like that, where it's like you go from associates to bachelor's to master's and doctorate or whatever. Not everyone goes through that progression, but there should be a distinction between each level. in terms of, access, in terms of pay, in terms of reimbursement. And that is why we're facing these issues. So I urge everyone that, let's all try to do our best. The APTA is one body that, yes, they are lacking in a lot. I feel like they could push a little bit more aggressively. The dues are really high. They're very, very high. Thank God my employer is the one paying for my dues. But it's very expensive to not see substantial progress to this point. And again, I don't blame them altogether, because a lot of us too, there are a lot of people that are not part of the organization. But I feel like if everyone does their part, we'll be in a better place. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope no one takes it wrong, but the internet is a funny place. But anyways, y'all, whatever, I said what I said, and y'all have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'm gonna talk to y'all later.